What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Juneteenth to everyone who celebrates it. This is the recap for Marriage Huntsville titled Bettie's Blues. Bettie, if you guys aren't familiar, is Stormy's mom. And Miss Bettie is a piece of work, child. Okay, we're going to get into that. So the episode starts off, it picks up right back where they left off last week with the 6 of the original members of the comeback group meeting in a conference room discussing the Blaque Expo event that Marsau and Tisha are putting on to, educate the community on business. Blaque is spelled Blaque. It's their cigar bar. And Miss Tisha and Mr. Marsau, Scots, they don't want to pay anybody. So, Melody, Kimmy, and Martell are really not feeling the fact that they're being asked to work for free, basically. And, Mel's like, do y'all even have a date? And she's like, yeah, we have a date, March 8th. And they're looking at Mel like, what, you going to be booked and busy then? And Melody's, yeah, she's like, yeah, probably. She says she has something lined up. But to be honest, I don't blame Mel or Martell or Kimmy because, first of all, Marsau and Tisha, they got it. I mean, they own a cigar bar and a construction company. But if they don't have it, then they should be not putting on this event, right? Like they're trying to guilt them into saying, anybody who asks for money is greedy. And no, that's not the case. For wanting to be compensated for your time and your expertise, that's only fair. But I don't know if it has happened or you guys have heard about it. Please let me know, because March was a few months ago. But yeah, I don't like the fact that they're trying to guilt their friends into working for free, basically. So then we move on to Melody and Nail Flechter. And, Nail is a really good friend of Mel's. She's a mentor to her. And they're taking a pole dancing class. And so Nail is, she's talking about Melody's new man, her new boo. And Melody said something that was so striking. She said, I didn't even realize how, unsafe I felt in my previous relationship. And I'm assuming she's talking about Martell. She said, this relationship that I have now, he checks on me all the time. He asks if I'm okay. And, she said that she cries because she didn't think that she was going to ever find that. But he is just seemingly the complete opposite of her ex-husband. And I love that for her. Okay. So Melody, do your thing. She's keeping him close to her chest, as she should. She's like, you probably won't hear really anything until I pop up married. And I was like, married? And I'm thinking like, yeah, that makes sense. Issa Rae did it, right? You don't want a whole lot of people in your business because one, people are nosy. But two, some things you want to keep close to your chest. You want to keep private. So I don't blame her for that. Okay, so then we have Tisha and Marsau, and they are looking at different apartments because they're building their dream home, Scott Manor. Okay. Now stick with me, okay, because this is kind of confusing. While they're building Scott Manor and they're looking for apartments, they're also renovating, I think, one of their first home. Okay. So Marsau looks at Tisha and says, well, why don't, his 16-year-old son is named after him, Marsau Jr. Why don't MJ and I stay at this house while you guys, the girls, stay at the apartment while we're doing the renovations? And Tisha's like, absolutely not. Okay. And I don't blame her. I'm still stuck on the fact that Marsau really went to Africa by himself. Okay. Like the fact that Tisha let that fly, it still blows my mind when I think about it. But anyway, so he's like, well, she's like, you're not going to take my son and have you and your 16-year-old over at a bachelor pad. He's like, it's not a bachelor pad if I'm, working with my son. He's like, I just want to get things done. He's like, you remember when I was working on this project, did X, Y, and Z, and he was like, I was working day and night. And she's like, yeah, I remember. And so he goes, well, I need to do that again. She's like, no, we're a family and we're going to stay under one roof as a family. And I don't blame her. He's actually even making her pay for the renovation since he, is not being with his son by himself, separated from the girls. Marsau is, he's a piece of work. He doesn't seem to really respect women. And the way he talks to Tisha really bothers me, like, a lot. But people will only disrespect you as much as you let them. So she needs to establish those boundaries. I wish she would have done it earlier in their marriage, but hopefully as the show continues to grow, as they continue to evolve, that she can put her foot down, because Mr. Marsau is a piece of work. He's something else. Speaking of being a piece of work, we have Miss Bettie. Miss Bettie, who is Stormy's mom. So Stomy and Courtney are here shown in the picture. They have a beautiful home. They have a son. Stomy wants more kids. Courtney does not. But Miss Bettie is her mother, and Miss Bettie is just contentious, cantankerous, just loud and wrong, okay? So she's over there, and she's recently fired her cousin, Junior, who used to work at their warehouse. Now, Junior, he's saying that, he's only one person. He can only do so much. She needs to hire more people. And Courtney and Story was saying, well, every time we see you, you're on your phone. And so they had to let him go. The problem is, they come over there to meet, and he brings his mom, and Miss Bettie is just really pouring salt in the wound of, Junior being let go. Like, and she's really talking down to her sister. And then she's like calling Junior a condescending little prick. And I mean, I'm thinking, like, how is he condescending? Like, to me, didn't say anything disrespectful or condescending to Miss Bettie. Miss Bettie was just spitting all this vitriol. And finally, Junior's mom's name is Lisa. So Stormy's aunt Lisa looks at her and she says, is this your business or is it Betty's? And Stormy's just like, she doesn't say anything. And so, Lisa, they go back and forth, her and Miss Bettie. And she's like, you're not my sister anymore. And, Miss Lisa walks outside pretty much heartbroken. And Stormy goes after her. And, she's over there overlooking the lake and the ranch and things like that. On Stormy's compound, they have a beautiful home. But, Stormy, I feel like she's between a rock and a hard place, right? Like, she knows that her mom is not an agreeable person. And she goes out and tells her auntie, she's like, well, mom's in there alone with Junior, so you better come on. And then, they started talking about, well, Stormy got your son out of jail. She paid $15,000. And Lisa's like, wait, hold on. You're not going to throw my son under the bus. She's like, Stormy went to jail too, right? And so Stormy, she shows her mug, or she makes a picture, and it's like a mugshot. It's really cute. I mean, she has a sense of humor about it. She's like, I was only in there for 3 days, and then the judge saw, that I was only 18, and he basically threw the case out. So, yeah, she has a great sense of humor about it. But, Stormy and Courtney, they have to run their business as they see fit. And it's always difficult when you mix business and family, right? But when it comes to Miss Bettie, Stormy, honey, if I were you, I would try to keep my business as far away from my mother as possible, because this woman is very, to me, she seems very bitter, and she seems like she's not going to do anything but try to bring those around her down to her level. So With that being said, y'all, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you later. Take care, Aces. Bye.